wasn't busy.
So the first race that you went to compete,
Yeah,
your wife gets first place,
yeah,
and you get third,
yeah.
and you were probably pissed.
No, I was I was happy to get third place, and I was thrilled for her to get first. What people don't understand about my wife is that she never played sports in her whole entire life.
That's unbelievable, man.
I mean, maybe a season of soccer when she was a kid, like 8 or 9 or something like that, but she didn't run, she didn't do anything. And again, our trainer, and through her own hard effort and hopefully some of my encouragement, she went all in as well, and she became a fierce competitor. She's we're still in 2019. Well, we just were. She's third in the nation, women 30 to 35 within Spartan.
That's amazing. I was going to bring that up, and you, I mean, you just recently had an operation and stuff like that. You're recovering and everything like that. I don't know how long you've been away from the racing scene, but you're getting back into it because you and I have been going to the gym.
Yeah.
And you used to be ranked first.
Yeah, I had a period in 2017 because we got into this in 2016. I had a period in 2017 in the competitive series where I was ranked number 1 in the world for men over 50. They have a point system, so I'd gone out and had a few good races right off the bat. I didn't really understand how the point system worked.
Yeah.
I looked at it like, wow, hey, I'm number 1. But I ran a different series after that, so I started getting bumped down, but it didn't matter. I was having a good time.
You ever heard the saying, live life driven by chance?
A little bit.
Yeah. I would say that you, that is, what do they say? Don't just talk about it, go out and do it. And that's something that is obvious that you and your wife do. I mean, that's an amazing feat. Those races, I've never done one. I do appreciate you bringing the medals over and showing me what it's all about, trying to get me inspired and motivated to put myself in that situation. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and tell you, heck yeah, I'm all in, right? Because there's a little bit of fear, right? But yeah. I'm attempting to create that more faith over fear. But your wife told me that changed her life.
Yeah, it did.
Doing just entering the Spartan races changed her life. How do you think? I know she's not here to answer this, but I'm sure you guys have spoke about that, or you know your wife. What is that about?
Yeah, she's pretty open book. With who she is. She's suffered with anxiety like a lot of women, and sometimes that gets worse once you have kids. Hormonal imbalance and the pressures of being a mom. The athleticism that it takes to run a Spartan race in a competitive level, you really have to train hard. And making that training a part of her daily routine gave her release, right? To go out there and be a better mom, and the discipline of going to the gym and putting the time in and seeing the results of that effort through your racing, and you can't just go out there and do it. You got to live the life. You got to work out. You got to eat healthy. You got to go to bed early.
Right.
And be responsible and create a routine within yourself. And we live fairly unroutine lives because we like to live by the seat of our pants often. But I think what changed for her, she realized how important it is to have some things of consistency. And that's why it changed her life, because she was kind of all over the board. And then it gives you that purpose. Right? When you find out how important having a purpose is in your life, on top of having kids and maybe doing something for yourself, like Spartan racing.
Well, I don't know if your life is unorganized on a day-to-day basis. I'm a mess, because I walk past your refrigerator down there and I see a map of 5 a.m. workout, 8 a.m. do this, 9 a.m. do this. Noon do this, and then maybe 2 o'clock, boom, rest of the day's free. But I mean, it's pretty well mapped out.
Yeah, I guess we all have our own standards of what organized or unorganized is, I suppose. People ask me, hey, what time your kids go to bed? I said, when they feel like it. Then all of a sudden I feel like a bad parent and I'm unorganized. Like, what do you mean when they feel like it? Mine go to bed at 7:30 every night. I'm like, well, mine stay up and party until they want to go to bed.
Yeah, our kids were partying like rock stars last night listening to music. All right, hey, now you come here, no more Azunia, you're getting Baja United Group going. And when did you start your own business? The answer is yes, live life driven, you're a life coach, business consultant. When did that occur?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I'm an opportunist, right? I see things. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people hire me as a coach, because I see how the puzzle fits together.
Right.
And my business partner at Baja United, who owns a marketing firm, he suggested we do a podcast. And I didn't know anything about it. I'm like you know, you'd only listened to 2 in your whole life before doing this today.
Here I am.
Here you are, right? You're a pro.
Yeah.
He said, we should do a podcast. So I said, well, what are they? And he gave me some links. I listened to some. I thought, those are cool. Like, I liked it. And I thought, okay, well, how am I going to do a podcast that's going to be interesting enough to drive SEO traffic to my beer and wine business, which we wanted to bolster up our online sales. And we realized that podcasts have high SEO ratings, especially because ours links to YouTube, which is the second largest search engine on the internet.
What is this SEO rating? Because I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Well, it's basically the optimization of the search engines.
Oh, okay.
Right. So when people type in wine, we want to see.
Pop up first.
We want it to pop up first. Chances are it's not going to happen. I think Mandavi or somebody's got that figured out, right? But if
you're just hoping you're not on page 12.
That's exactly right.
Got
exactly right. So so you try to have all these tips and tricks, and podcasting was one of those. But at the same time, I thought, well, I don't know if I can put out enough content about Baja wines. And just being completely honest and frank with my audience here, I didn't know a lot about wine. I've been in the spirits business for 20 plus years. So I didn't want to put together some bullshit show about what a wine expert I was, because that wouldn't have been authentic and real for me.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'm going to do a show on some topics that I think are important. And I think it's important to hear other people's stories. And I'd always said yes to any opportunities we've kind of been covering here the last 40 minutes. And I thought, I'm going to do a show on saying yes. And I want to interview people that have said yes, that hopefully will influence others. That's what my show's going to be about. And in order to tie in the wine business, I'll have a commercial about Baja wines. We'll talk about it. It'll be part of who I am, right?
Right.
And that's why we started the podcast. To answer the other part of your question, when did I start life coaching and business consulting? I started that the day after my first podcast aired. And the way that happened was
it planned?
It was not planned. I put myself out there on my first show. I just told the story a lot like what we're talking about today. I'd never recorded a podcast, and I didn't do any practice runs either. I hit record, and I had an outline because I didn't want to blow that. Followed the outline, put the show out there. I aired it, pushed it out on my social media. The day after, I got 3 different phone calls from owners, CEOs, or presidents of companies that I knew and respected, and said, hey, man, your story really resonated with me. I'm going through this. What do you think? All right, how did you do that? And I realized the next day I was already giving advice to people. And I had just been on David Meltzer's podcast. Funniest thing ever. He had me on the podcast to promote my racing and my beer and wine business, kind of promote the orphanage thing. But it was the day after Super Bowl. I don't know shit about football.
It's a pretty big day.
And he's one of the number one sports agencies out there. And everybody's talking about football. And I really had to play along. Anyways, I called David after I aired my podcast. I said, hey, I want to meet with you. He goes, well, I don't meet just to meet. He's like, let's talk some business. So we did. And I hired him to be a coach, business coach. And I said, by the way, I launched this podcast. I want to do it well. I want to do it like you're doing it. And he said, okay, I can help you with that. I said, but randomly, I've got all these people calling me, asking me for advice. He goes, well, sounds like you set yourself up to be a business coach, consultant. I said, okay, well, what do I do? He goes, I'm going to help you. So I've been working with Dave for almost 3 years now.
I just listened to his podcast when he was on your show and stuff like that. The guy's just next level type of person.
Next level, yeah. So, and that's a long answer for your question, but that's how I started coaching. The life coaching and business consulting, they all melded into one because the calls that were coming in. And I've been very fortunate. I've had some great clients. By the way, this has been the true test of having faith over fear, because I'll get a big client, we'll be rolling, I'll get cozy and the money and the work, and then all of a sudden, okay, we're good, man, we're set. Thank you so much, Jim. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, what? I'm out of a job again. Yeah. Right? But
you set them up for success, right?
That's right.
And what's the thing I was talking to you about the other day? David talked about on his show with you, and that was you want people to be. I believe he said, and I'm sorry if I mess this up because I just learned it, but you want people to be successful through you.
Through me.
Right? So even though you take the money hit, it gives you that feel-good stuff, which obviously doesn't pay the bills, but it's like, hey, that's what I'm out here doing. That's what I'm supposed to do. And that's another reason why I wanted to talk to you on this podcast, because you're about the most humble dude I've ever met before in my life. And I mean that wholeheartedly. You don't tell anybody anything about it. I'm your neighbor, for Christ's sake. I've known you for 2 months. Come on. I wanted to exploit some of these topics a little bit more because you have an interesting life. I can't wait for a book.
Yeah.
Tell me you're not going to write a book.
No, David has encouraged me to write a book, which I will, but I want it to be a tool. What I need to do is formulate my stories into tools for others, and that's the hard part, because I can tell my story pretty good. But
I'll tell you what, in your podcast, if you look, and I'm sure you know this because you did all your podcasts, but your first podcast is significantly less amount of time than all the other ones. So I can't thank you enough for trusting in me to come in here and interview you. I told you I've interviewed many people, but I'm just like I said, when you said, hey, you ready to go, my pulse was probably jacked at about 90 or whatever, because this is new to me.
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb here, trying to get something going. And I can't thank you enough with all your listeners. You got so many thousand subscribers. Hopefully they'll send you emails going, hey, we liked it, and not, who the hell was this dude?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's great for people to explore that uncomfort zone.
Oh, it's uncomfortable.
And do something that you dream about doing, and having the faith to do that. Just real quick back on these coaching and consulting jobs, I will tell you truth. I've lost a client because they've had success, and the very next day wondering where do I get my next client at? And it has shown up on my doorstep within days, if not minutes. Wow. It's been incredible how that happens.
Well, if anybody's ever spent any amount of time with you, I mean, you are very honest. You're very raw. You're super nice. You hear the kids? We're running out of time. So anyway, I just got to thank you. The likes of Sugar Ray have been on this podcast. Dan Dreyer, Sean Whalen, David Meltzer. I can't thank you enough for having me here and answering some of the questions that I had about you, and also to help me out with this headset thing on and listen to my own self-talk, because that's awkward to me.
Yeah, well, look, Justin, it's been a pleasure. I'm happy to tell my story. You're right. I'm not one to be very boastful about what I've done. I'm thrilled to have been the person I've been and do all the great things that I've been blessed enough to do. And I hope that through my stories, other people will get fired up and excited to go live their own dreams, because it's possible. And I think that this is a great launch pad for you to follow through on your ambitions and dreams to put some stuff together. So I'll tell my listeners right now, I'm going to put Justin on the spot for down the road to we'll publicize what you come up with out of this, and let's get you here to Montana, out of the big city life. So,
amen, brother.
Yeah, Justin, thank you. As you mentioned, the kids are in the background. We're living our best life ever in the studio here, home office, looking out over the Montana mountains. Glorious, all the trees. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'd love to have your feedback. You can reach out through all my social media channels. And that has been The Answer is Yes. Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.